I think this is one of the most important sites for me in London. I mean, you get to the center of London and you have the oldest hospital in London and one of the oldest churches, which is in an original shape. I mean, the acoustics there are really magical. So in a certain sense, and I always say the Rudolf Steiner quote, the history of a site always exists. You can choose to ignore it, but it exists nevertheless. And I always feel that I want to understand the spirit and the history of a place. The site is the metaphysical beginning of a piece of architecture. This particular project really brings that home. I feel that architecture and music are two arts that are really in the same spirit and category, and that is because, you know, you can look at a painting or turn away from it. You can look at a piece of sculpture or choose not to see it. But music engulfs you, it surrounds you, and it has in it the quality of time, of a kind of ongoing time as a piece of music plays. And architecture surrounds you in the same sense. And as you move through it, it has a sense of time. I think there's a lot of things in these two arts that are very similar, and what's interesting to me is when music can inspire architecture. From the Greek word pneuma, this neume notation from the Greek word means vital force, or like breath of air. This is a great history of musical notation before proper 5-bar staff notation. Neumes were written by monks and certainly sang in the St Bartholomew's great church, and our analogy is to make color fields in between the inner and outer glass. And we're experimenting now with this very, very delicate texture. It will not be a shining building, it has a matte finish, and these color fields are embedded in between Ocalux, which is a super highly efficient insulating material. And what happens is the color from colored glass is in a way turned into a wash, like a Mark Rothko painting. And you can see in some of these images how the delicacy of the light that will come in, and both at night and during the day, this wonderful color field that's floating like musical notation on the staff bar lines that wrap the building's surface. Our project is based on a concept of a vessel within a vessel within a vessel. So it's a simple idea, and then it has all these different experiences. Like from the outside, you have this matte glass, and you'll get this small hint of wash of color as you walk around the building, but it's rather calm. It's a rather simple building on the outside, except you see the gardens, you see the trees above, and the landscaping, of course. But when you go in, it's quite different. It's all in digitally perforated bamboo. So there's a kind of warmth, like a basket-like quality of warmth. And then there's stairs, that very gentle stairs that bring you up. And then you see these color washes come onto the floor, and you get the play of light and these musical neume notation analogies. So I think a kind of meditative quality, for me, it will be a nice place to spend time and to just relax. And I think that's one of the main goals, to make the architecture really comforting and a place that you're inspired to spend time. I believe to really respect the authenticity of historic architecture, you must make an authentically new piece that doesn't overwhelm it, that complements it, what I call complementary contrast. And you can see that in our Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, which was also an award-winning project, uniting two brick and stone buildings from 1850. And the idea was to bring the floor levels through and create a dissonant zone, which is our centerpiece, our new entrance. That was also unanimously approved by the New York Landmarks Commission because of the respect to the old given by the new. And I think here we're in a similar situation. To really respect this James Gibbs building would not be to respect it, to mimic it in some kind of a stone extension. First of all, you can't match the stonework. You can't match the quality or the craftsmanship. So that would be an unauthentic kind of action. And I think the authenticity of the James Gibbs piece deserves an authentic piece as a complementary contrast. Presently, there's a 1960s building slam up against this building, which will be removed, torn down, and our new project is curved at the corners, so it allows a reading of these coins in their original manner, which finish out the James Gibbs building. So we feel in a certain way, as a new project, it's giving life to the old that it didn't have. And in this kind of complementary contrast with this matte finished glass, it's almost like alabaster and going with the quality of the stonework on the Gibbs building. And we envision restoring the landscape in St Bartholomew the Less, behind that smaller church, restoring the landscape there with some ginkgo trees and some of those great stones that show the London rain on stone pavers, with a real quality of attention to detail and fitting in and making that space a greener and more inviting place.